Okay, hi all, welcome to my kitchen. Today is Thursday, it's August 17th. We got a lot going on today. I'm so excited to say that the camcorder will be delivered later on this afternoon. It's supposed to arrive between 3:30 and 6:30. The cooking video that I'm going to do today will not be using that camcorder. We'll be using the iPhone like normal, and that's just because I need to charge up the batteries and set the whole thing up, and this is going to be a long process today. It's probably not going to be that long of a video. I'm going to show you the basics of how to do a roasted leg of lamb, and trust me, it's going to be a very good video. You don't want to miss that. There's also been new developments with the garden back. We had some thunderstorms earlier today. From here on out, for the next 5 days, we're supposed to have clear skies, sunny. The humidity level is supposed to rise towards next week, and we are supposed to get into a hot streak. And when I say hot streak, it is going to be well into the 90s starting on Sunday, and it's going to be in the 90s at least through Wednesday. So, my goal for today is to do the leg of lamb. I'm going to kind of go fast forward a little bit and tell you the cooks that are coming up. Tomorrow I have got to do the tomatoes because tomorrow out of the next 7 days is the coolest day. So I'm going to do the tomato sauce tomorrow. There's going to be a little bit of a kicker with the tomato sauce, and I'm not, again, going to film the whole thing. I'm expecting the tomato press to arrive tomorrow, sometime tomorrow. If it arrives early in the day versus late in the day, I'll try to get it cleaned and ready to press all of the tomatoes. So, you may see the video being filmed later in the day versus earlier in the day because it all depends on what the time frame for that to arrive is. Now, I'm going to get a little ahead of myself, and of course, tomorrow's video that I'm going to film tomorrow, and not, you'll see it on Saturday or Sunday, possibly, depending on how long the lamb video is. I'll get more into the basics with the tomato press. There is a motor that you can buy and make it a motorized tomato press. I decided not to do that because the motor is a little bit more expensive, and I want to see if I like the tomato press by using it manually versus with the motor. Now, of course, the motor is going to change the game field if I go motorized because it'll work much faster than hand cranking, but I need to see the workings of a tomato press. So that's tomorrow's video. Since it's going to be so hot next week, I'm going to keep all of the videos that we are going to do to a minimum and do outdoor cooks on the grill. I may pull out a pork butt, and we might do pulled pork. That would be one video. I was going to do ribs. Unfortunately, my husband, when he went to clean out one of our freezers, took them out and then forgot to put them back in the freezer. So those had to get thrown out because they were out for who knows how long, and they had fully defrosted and they weren't refrigerated. So I don't have any ribs to make. I am planning on doing a brisket, and I was hoping maybe of doing a brisket sometime next week. Unfortunately, all of my briskets are 15 pounds or heavier, and that's a lot of brisket for 2 people. This is where my stupidity came in to play, and when I bought them, I never cut them. I should have separated the point from the flat, and we'll get into that. But I am going to take out one probably later on today and start the defrosting part on it. Today's Thursday, so it should be defrosted maybe Monday, Tuesday of next week. We'll see how that goes. Other things. I am going to do the dumplings at some point this weekend, whether it be Saturday or Sunday. We're going to do the yeast dumplings, and I'm going to teach you guys how to do the yeast dumplings so that you have yeast dumplings for the meal. And I'm getting ready to have those on hand for the goulash. I guess stop the video for a second. I'll be right back. Okay, and I'm back. I'm sorry about that. You all know that the clock plays and copyright and all that good stuff. So, what I think I was saying where I left off was I'm going to do the yeast dumplings and get them started for both my husband's birthday, which happens to be on the 12th of September, as well as I have one lady that is waiting patiently for a goulash recipe, and you're going to definitely need the yeast dumplings for that. So we're going to see how the yeast dumplings turn out. That's going to be a cook coming up. I'm not going to do the goulash just yet. I'm going to do the goulash probably sometime in the beginning of September. Now, my friend Cal has waited for over 9 months for his Swedish meatballs. I am going to do that right after my husband's birthday. I put that on the top of the list. I need to get that done, and I need to gather the ingredients for that. That also will be done probably in the first half of September. So, now that I've explained everything and we've gotten all of that out of the way, it's a little early to get cooking, but I'm going to explain a few things that you're going to need for the leg of lamb. Now, if you're new to lamb and you've never ever had lamb before, what I always would suggest is start small. Start with lamb chops. And if you're not sure that you like the taste of lamb is a different acquired taste. It does not taste like beef, although it is red meat, so it is in the beef category. But lamb can have a very gamey taste, depending on where you get the lamb. I always try to buy the best lamb, and my lamb comes from Australia, which is where most of the lamb producers, although you can get locally sourced lamb here in the United States, you're going to pay a lot of money for it. Now, lamb chops. You can usually get lamb chops on a great sale. I have a Costco membership. Costco sells their prepackaged lamb chops. They're in a package. Usually it's a package of 10. They're $2.99 a pound. Or, I'm sorry, they're $6.99 a pound. If they were $2.99 a pound, my freezer would be totally stacked with lamb chops. I've never, ever seen lamb chops at $2.99 a pound. So, if you happen to see them at $2.99 a pound, don't even think about it. Even if money is tight, stock up on them, because you'll never get them again for that price. Anyway, my local Costco has them for $6.99 a pound. And that's when I usually try to buy my lamb, is when it's $6.99 a pound. Now, the butcher that I get most of my meat from, they sell their lamb chops for $24.99 a pound, which is really, really, really expensive. So always try to shop a sale. A good sale for lamb chops, $6.99 a pound. $8.99 a pound is not bad, but when they start to get above $8.99 a pound, then you need to think on whether or not you want to spend that kind of money. That's for the lamb chops. Now, the leg of lamb. I got the leg of lamb at my local Italian butcher / grocery store. More of a grocery store than a butcher, but that's where I also get my Italian sausage, the Italian cheeses, the Italian bread, my Italian lunch meat, and so on. So I was able to get a leg of lamb for $6.98 a pound, and it's a bone-in leg of lamb. And I'm going to kind of show you guys that. I'm going to put you guys on this side, and I don't know if you guys can see it where my hand is. I'm going to lift it up. This is the leg of lamb. Now, this guy weighs approximately 9 pounds, and I paid $55 for it. So, the weight, what you would do is take the $55 and divide it by the price that I paid, which was $6.98, and that comes to just under 9 pounds, actually. So, and it was a frozen leg of lamb. Usually, at this time of the year, all of the leg of lambs that you buy are going to be frozen. So you need to take in consideration when you buy leg of lamb, the defrost time. Now this has been sitting in my refrigerator for almost 5 days. And it's taken that long to defrost. So, what we're going to do a little bit later on, it's still a little bit early, and lamb does not cook all that long. It can vary from an hour and a half to 2 hours is usually the cook time for your leg of lamb. Now, lamb chops are a totally different thing. There are videos of me doing the lamb chops on the grill. I am not going to do this leg of lamb on the grill. I am going to actually roast it in the oven. Now, there are some ingredients that you definitely need for this type of a cook. You're going to need fresh rosemary, and I suggest using fresh versus frozen because you'll get a much, much better taste with your lamb. You're also going to need fresh garlic. And this time, instead of using the jar garlic, because the jar garlic will not work for this recipe, it needs to be fresh garlic. What you're going to do is you're going to slice the garlic bulb into slices. And I'll show you that step by step when we get started with that. You're going to need at least 3 whole bulbs of garlic. And I'm going to kind of show you. I'm going to take you over to the kitchen, and you have to excuse the mess. I have stuff everywhere in my kitchen because I'm loaded with tomatoes for the next thing. So, if you're new to cooking and new to terminology, this is a bulb of garlic, and in each of this, if I broke it, and I'll actually show you over here because this one is starting. Each one of these little lumps right here is a clove of garlic, or is what they call a clove of garlic. So you're going to need 3 of these, and trust me, that may seem like a lot, but you need to do this throughout the whole lamb. I'm going to show you step-by-step instructions. You're going to also need olive oil, and you're going to want to make sure you're using a good olive oil. And you'd have to go back quite a few videos. And probably later on in the fall, I'll get into explaining the difference in olive oils. You want a good extra virgin olive oil. I use probably one of the best on the market. It's definitely not a cheap olive oil, but those of you that are faithful and watch all of my videos or have been following me since January know how much olive oil I use. And I use olive oil almost on a daily basis in my cooking, depending on what I'm cooking. And it's always great to have a very, very good olive oil. I even have several of these olive oil jars where I have my olive oil in here. And I use them, like I said, I use them almost on a daily basis for whatever cooking I'm doing. So you need that. You're also going to need a roasting pan. Now, it can be a shallow roasting pan. It could be a taller roasting pan. I've seen it done on cookie sheets. You could do that if you wanted to. I like to use a little bit of a pan because we're also going to make a gravy with this. Now, you can use the broth, or you can use a very good dry red wine. And that's what we're going to do later on. I'm going to use a very good dry red wine on this lamb and make it extra good. Now, you can also do what they call an herb crusted leg of lamb, meaning you're going to make the whole entire outside of the lamb crusted with garlic, rosemary, and olive oil. I'm not going to do that because that's a little bit more complicated, and if it's not done just right, you can actually burn the entire crust and not cook your lamb. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you how I am going to do a leg of lamb. So I'm going to stop the video for the time being, And again, this whole video is going to be filmed on the iPhone versus the new camcorder. If the camcorder comes in the next hour, hour and a half, I might be able to film parts of it on that, but we'll see. So I'm going to focus more on doing it with the iPhone today versus the new camera. So I'll come back in about 2 hours and we'll start preparing the leg of lamb. Now, you're going to want to take your leg of lamb out about an hour and a half to 2 hours before you put it into the oven. So at 3 o'clock, I'll pull it out. I'm going to put it in the oven around 5 o'clock for dinner to be served between 6:30 and 7. That's my goal. Now with this meal, we're going to do the fingerling roast potatoes. And I again have the 2 packs of potatoes. Now, am I going to use both of these packages fully? No, I'm going to use probably half of the yellow and half of the red, because otherwise for 2 people that would make way too many potatoes. You also want to have a nice vegetable. I have asparagus in the refrigerator, but it's been in the refrigerator for quite a while. I need to check and see if that is still good. If it's not, then I'm going to have to think of something else. I do have beans in the refrigerator, but I'm also keeping my mindset that my husband does not like to eat green beans, so that's something he wouldn't want for dinner tonight. A nice garden salad would go really well with the lamb. We might do that. And then, of course, we have peach pie for dessert. Now, later on in this video, I'm going to tell you guys, if you made a homemade peach pie and you're going to have pie for dessert, take the pie out about an hour or 2 before you cut it and serve the slice. This allows the pie to get to a room temperature so that it's not ice cold straight from the refrigerator. It just allows the pie to get the juices flowing again and makes a good dessert. So I'll be back later and we'll get cooking.